So, good morning, Eagles fans, NFL fans, to the days after. I'll say it that way. Because, yes, would I love to just do a video about how my Eagles controlled, then lost, then came back and beat the New York Football Giants on an improbable 61-yard field goal by a rookie kicker. Yes, I would love to talk about that and love to talk about my antics with my wife while we're watching the game and how superstitious I am and the things that we did with that. And it was funny, it was fun, but I don't believe this week or at this time is the appropriate time, because I believe an issue that has come up is more appropriate to talk about openly here, and hopefully for us to be able to share ideas and for me to share my perspective and to encourage each other to move forward together. That being said, this weekend there's a lot of talk, especially from our president, Donald Trump, about his beliefs on what should happen with people that take a knee or show any kind of disrespect to our flag. The same flag that I have here up on my wall. And that sparked more action from a lot more players, because we know Colin Kaepernick last year and prior to has made statements during the national anthem, and currently a potentially talented player right now is not playing in the NFL, probably because of that. Because people don't want to draw attention to themselves in that manner and don't want to associate their business along with what all that stuff brings. That's just what I feel, because I do feel he has a level of talent. It's hard to bring a team to the Super Bowl and not have a level of talent. That being said, many teams demonstrated different ways. Owners, coaches, players, all together. Some teams did not even come out of their locker room. Some teams knelt and together during the anthem. Some knelt before and stood together. People demonstrated different ways, communicating their unity on their squad, their team, and their beliefs on the way the country should be. And as I found, as I even went to work myself, there's a lot of people that had a problem with these protests or these acts of demonstration and communication. And I myself, from my perspective, I'm prior military, United States Navy, submarine, fast-attack submarine Navy out of Hawaii and San Diego. I know myself that I always stand for the national anthem, because partly I'm just trained that way, but also for what it means for me in my mentality. So that's just me. But do I condemn those that choose to do otherwise? Me personally, no, I don't. If anything, I fought for that freedom. Personally, I fought for that freedom that people can speak freely. And that's what I've always been taught, and was, I believe, what America's about. No matter who you are. It's not a choice few that have the right to speak freely. It's everyone. Just as much as everybody should have the opportunity to be here. Because there's only a small group of people that were actually here first, per se. I could talk about a lot of different things, a lot of different ways, but I want to talk about the things that are effective. Because we can choose to continue not listening to each other and further divide each other, or we can finally slow down and take the time and the opportunities to try to get to understand where other people are coming from. There's a lot of people, even at my job, that wonder, well, what are they accomplishing with this? And it's making me mad, and I should just give up the NFL things. And if you really look at it, what they're trying to accomplish then actually worked. Because it's a group of people that are taking this knee during the anthem because they are fed up with the direction that our country is going. And what they desire is to wake people up to this and try to say, hey, look, I want you to pay attention to what's going on. And we want to make a change because the way that we see the country going is not good. The events down in Charlottesville and how that was handled by our country is not acceptable. I personally believe that's not acceptable. Now, I just as much fought for the right for people to demonstrate and protest like they are with the national anthem, as much as the neo-Nazis and the KKK down in Charlottesville. They also have a right to speak and a right to explain their ideas and things like that. And, you got to take all of it, But what avenue are we going to take to actually start trying to communicate with each other and work together to make this country great? Or are we just trying to draw more defined lines to keep us separated? And that's not what I hope. Now, it does spark the conversation. See, instead of just continuously talking about these other things, what are we going to do with this? I was faced with a specific situation yesterday at my job where people were talking about this passionately, and everybody in favor with Donald Trump, in favor with, to what I hear with Jerry Jones saying that he would fire players that would demonstrate during the anthem, in favor of that, and absolutely pissed off of people that demonstrated otherwise. And me being the only black person in the room, I chose to stay silent at the time and let them speak. One reason why I did is when somebody calls, and I'm not saying yesterday somebody called me a name, but I know about the police, the fire chief that said what he did about Tomlin. If somebody calls you the N-word, this is what my grandma says, if somebody calls you the N-word, you don't prove them right by acting like one. So I let them say their piece and hear them from their side as well, and held myself with a level of dignity during a time that I don't agree with what they're saying and how they're saying it. But just as much as I would like for them to hear me out, it's my responsibility to hear them out. I'm responsible how I respond to what is going on. And that's where we're all forced to be at right now, is responding to what happened during this weekend and all the protests and all the demonstrations, things like that. And as I said, their piece, especially since how I carry myself on a regular basis and how I have a passion for life and people in general, no matter what color they are, when I became a little silent about it, that actually raised eyebrows to the people in the room, to the point that they started examining a little bit on what they were saying and how it was affecting me. Because I have a history, I have a background that I know that I don't agree with the direction of our country. But I also have a level of passion, especially for my city, Philadelphia, where I'm willing to do something about it. And not just talk it up and argue and yell at a bunch of people. You can say whatever you want. But I'm willing to be in the streets to do something about it. And that's how I see changing lives and perspectives. But I had one-on-ones with a bunch of the people that came up to me afterwards and wanted to have a one-on-one with me. They said something in the group of people, but then people said something a little different to me in one-on-ones. And the one guy said, you're obviously a little frustrated with me, but what is your perspective on this? And I looked at him and I was very honest with this, and I said, with my belief, because I'm a Christian first. Yes, I know I'm a black man, I get it. That's what you see on this video, but in my heart, I believe in the love of Jesus Christ, so I said, hey, look, this is my perspective. In what I believe, yes, I believe we should be taking time to understand and know each other, where each other's come from, because it's obvious to me you guys don't know me that well, and the things I've had to endure and go through as I grew up, and I moved different places, and I've experienced different things that has me feel and believe a specific way. And the only way to get to that point of your understanding, me understanding you as well and the things that you've gone through, because I don't understand you and your perspectives and why it got you to this point, is through love and understanding, patience, time, proper communications. And that doesn't happen through firing hate back and forth. And if I, through this, and through even your comments, regardless if I agree with them or not, if I chose to spew hate back at you, I'm just as bad as the people I know are demonstrating against. So I have to do something different. As well as when they say, oh, these players, they don't go into these community stuff. I stood up for these players, especially players like Malcolm Jenkins. I've served with this guy in North Philly before. So when they say, oh, the money, but it's not about the money. And I've seen this guy in Kensington before, serving the community because that's what he believes. But then, I believe it has to be bigger than just these demonstrations. I want to see my country standing united together, but it has to be real. And what I would hope is that this sparks for a change in culture. And I'm still talking to him, and he's listening intently, and I say, hey, look, what I want to challenge, and not just for the NFL and all Major League sports, for people in general, to do something with this. In life, you're only going to run into a certain number of people that actually care about you or are open-minded about learning and knowing something that they previously didn't from a perspective that they don't have. You're going to run into a certain number of people like that. And you can communicate and you can grow and build with those people. Then you're going to have people that just don't want to understand. You can't do anything about it. You can't force them. Just as much as they can't force you to stand for the anthem, you can't force them. And hey, that's okay. You run into that universally as a Christian, which is the reason why I even use that in the first place, because that's not color dependent. That's faith. That's a belief inside the heart. Right? That puts us all on the same playing ground. You run into that as a Christian anyway. So now, yeah, you just add black to it, or you add Mexican to it, or you add white to it, you add whatever to it. Okay. But we got to do something with this. We have to change the culture of this country by our actions. And perfect example of November is like a humanitarian month or something like that now. What I would love to see in my city is for these same players that are demonstrating that I understand and I agree. I would like to see all of us together, players and fans, owners, whoever, kids, whatever, all of us to take a stand together in our communities that we play in and watch in and fan in and root in, to make a discerning effort in our communities to make the changes that are necessary to change the culture of our country, to make it great and not wait for somebody else to do it. And I think that's where the conversation needs to really start. Forget about the arguing going back and forth, and he said, she said, and this guy called this guy the N-word, and this guy is counter-racist back to white people, and blah, blah. What good does this do? But these demonstrations, these protests, and all this energy needs to have a level of action behind it. And actions that are rooted in universal love for each other, if we truly want this country to be as great as I want it to be. So please feel free to leave your comments, but at the same time, in the following weeks to come, I'm going to start doing more research, because I believe this is the direction of my life in Philadelphia going forward. I don't just want to talk about the kneeling and things like that, but I also want to start creating some videos on what action looks like in Philadelphia, and start coming up with plans and start executing them one at a time to change my city so we can stand together in respect for what we are building in this country. Thank you for your time. Please share this video if you like, dislike, whatever. Get the conversations going and spread the love. I hope you have a great day, and I'm looking forward to seeing you, hopefully serving side by side with players and other fans and myself in Philadelphia.